Tarver on with me. How you doing, Savannah?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for coming on here.
Cheers.
So, I like to kind of just start with what got you into MMA and what got you to where you are today.
Well, I've been a martial artist since I was 5 years old. That was like the only sport my parents could ever really get me into that I was, well, actually really liked. When I was 5, they started me off in Taekwondo, and I did that up until about my junior year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
Sophomore year, one of my friend's dads was telling us about the school, Victory Martial Arts, so that, something that he really enjoys, and it was something a little bit new, and I was already a little familiar with martial arts, with MMA, never actually doing it. I was more of in Taekwondo, of course, it's all kicking. Um, I always thought it would be kind of interesting to try out, and as soon as I started, I just fell in love. It was just absolutely amazing. I always felt great doing it. It kept me in amazing shape, and later on, I ended up meeting Danny Summers, started doing private lessons with him, and it just further expanded on my, what I was going for.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so my sophomore year, I started that, and then I decided, closer to the end of the year that I would like to try fighting one of these days. One area that I struggled a little bit in was my ground game, so my junior year of high school, I decided I was going to join the wrestling team over at Shepherd. And again, everything has always been combat sports with me. It just always been one of those passions. And I got to do it with my little brother. My brother and I do everything together, so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's again, just fighting in general it is so much fun.
Yeah.
I always tell everybody anytime it comes to it, they always ask am I nervous and this, that, and the other. And of course, you're gonna get nervous. If you're not, it's a little scary.
Yeah.
But stepping in the cage, I'm just happy,
Yeah.
very happy.
Yeah, you,
So.
you, you look that way. So, I've been reviewing the footage that I can. Watched the video from last night. And one thing about you is how calm you are. Um, I don't know if that is just the way you are as a person, or if it's something that if you do a lot of stuff mentally.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, how can you achieve that? Because you at least look very comfortable.
I've just been in competition since I was so young, so I don't know. I think I am just a calm person in general, but with again, being in competition just my entire life, it's just normal for me to be able to just go out there and do what I need to do.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very difficult um, thing to be able to do. I've been watching this for a long time, and you are one of those fighters that comes around once. Just the way you carry yourself, your style. I think your future is way. I mean, you have a really bright future. So
Thank
what
you.
do you like most about doing this?
Honestly, again, I feel at home. Like the minute I step in the cage, I don't know. There's something about it. It's hard to really describe, but it's something like I know that's where I want to be.
Yeah,
That's like home.
yeah,
So it's just a very comfortable feeling. I don't feel like the weight of the world's on my shoulders. I just feel like I'm there to put myself out there to really be me. It's just very comforting.
right. Yeah, no, that's great. And you definitely you look at home. I mean, you are like I said, I'm real excited because you Yeah, you're going to be up there one of these days, and it's going to
Thank
be
you.
great. What division do you fight in?
Right now I'm fighting at 115. That just actually we finally just went to 115.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing 125 for a while now, and then finally decided, to give it a try. Completely changed my diet. Lost a decent amount of weight for this fight. This is actually like the most amount of weight I've ever had to lose for a fight, and probably the easiest cut I've ever had to do, just because I changed things up. But yeah, so we're gonna stick to 115 from here on.
Okay. So you feel better at 115?
Oh yeah, a lot better. I felt just faster. I still felt about as strong as I did at 125. Um, just everything just kind of came together. Just in general, I feel a lot healthier.
Good, good. So how is I always like to ask, how is that weight cut?
It honestly, it was one of the easiest ones I did, just because I just the entire month I completely changed everything about my diet. I tried something completely different. I went off the George Lockhart diet,
Okay.
and I just from the beginning, like the first week I started it, I had already lost I think 4 or 5 pounds.
Oh wow.
It just came off, and I'm eating like 3 or 4 times a day. And I'm sitting there like, holy crap! Why haven't I been doing this the whole time? Because by the time I get to 125, I'm usually like I feel dehydrated and just horrible, and I'm getting down to 120, and like I still have energy for maybe 3 more workouts today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I always like to ask that because I think that that's a huge part that people don't understand
right.
is the weight cutting and all that process. So now I wanted to ask you, how did you get in with Bad Chicks MMA?
Well, one of my good friends, Danny Summers' wife, actually was getting sponsored by them, and I thought that was absolutely amazing because like I'd been following them for a good while.
Mm-hmm.
I love their gear. I love seeing all their fighters. It's just all of them. They're part of this awesome team.
Yeah,
There's a bunch of bad chicks.
absolutely.
So
Yeah, they're
um,
good people.
you're right.
They're good
They're
people.
amazing, just kind, sweet,
Mm-hmm.
and awesome all
Yeah,
around. So
yeah. They.
I just feel amazing when they were willing to sponsor me. I was like, seriously? I get to be part of the team? That's awesome.
Yeah, heck
It
yeah. I
was,
mean,
it
you
was
definitely
amazing.
you deserve that, and the good things you said about them, you're a good fit for them.
Thank you.
Because it just it's good stuff. But yeah, Kristen, I talked to Kristen quite a bit. She's pretty awesome. So we're working on getting her scheduled on the show. I think that would be a blast.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So yeah. So if you want to, do you want to talk about last night a little bit?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Yeah. So I watched the video. And again, you were disturbingly calm and just focused and dominating. I think. And now, it was a armbar loss, and I believe your mom sent me the video,
Yeah.
and she, which I'm glad she did. It was great to see. She pointed out because I was kind of shaking my head. You didn't tap. The ref just stopped it. You
Yeah.
know. Um, so were you kind of like there were a couple times where you were almost out of it. Did you feel because it looked like when you flipped over, were you still okay at that point? Because it was stopped immediately after that.
Right. I am kind of glad that the ref did stop it
Mm-hmm.
because I did start feeling some pressure, and you know felt a couple snaps here and there.
Yeah.
I'm glad he did stop it because I did not want to tap.
Okay.
I did not want to lose that. Of course, nobody wants to lose.
Exactly.
I did feel like I could have gotten out of it, but at the time she had it in there, and There's not a whole lot I could do, but again,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that I'm definitely gonna look back on, learn from.
Mhm.
Uh, I know one thing I'm very just aggravated with myself for is letting it go to the ground, because I know that was definitely one of the things my coaches and I talked about. Make sure to keep it on your feet, keep my range. And for some reason, the minute I sprawled down, I decided I was just going to pressure in. And I think that, like, just wrestler instinct kicked in, just, like, pressure forward.
Yep.
And, yeah, got caught. She won fair and square, so,
Yeah.
again, just something to learn from.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, the wrestling is super aggressive, you know, and
Right.
it's really hard to not do that if
Exactly.
that's something you know.
Yeah. Well, especially because after, my wrestling season were over, I was getting caught in arm bars left and right, so I knew the minute I pressured forward, I was like, oh my god, why did I do that?
No, but it happens, you know, like you said, you got caught. But I mean, a lot of things to take from that is how dominant it was. And now, do you do a lot of film study, watching your fights and watching your opponent's fights?
Definitely. I
Yeah.
never want to go into a fight just like not knowing anything about them. And that was a big reason why we wanted to keep it standing,
Mm-hmm.
because this girl was definitely very good on the ground. Um, I think just between, I know she's around the same height as me, but you could tell that there was definitely like a lengthiness to her,
Mm-hmm.
just between her arms and everything. She's very sneaky on the ground when it comes to being on the ground. She's very good on the ground, so at that point I was like, oh, you know, it's aggravating, but I'm laughing at myself now, so I
Yeah.
mean, I have to at that point.
Yeah, it happens. It
Right.
happens. You know, now talk a little differently about so are you always in training? I mean, is this what you do full time?
Um, well, I'm mostly in training.
Mm-hmm.
I'm usually working full time, so I'm going straight. I work from around maybe 7 in the morning to about 3:30, and then go straight to practice right after. So it just my entire days I'm getting home maybe around 10ish,
Wow.
is between work and practice.
Yeah, those are long days.
Yeah,
Those are long days.
definitely.
It's gonna pay off, you know. That's I think that's the heart. You're at that point in your
Right.
career where where you have to do this, but you
Yeah.
know, just imagine when it's like, oh, I can train full time and not have to worry about other things, you know.
Exactly.
Then you'll look back at
What I'm
these
looking
days and
for.
be like, wow, it was totally worth it.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
I'm excited for those days.
yeah,
But
I can imagine that you probably don't have a lot, but what are some things you like to do when you have time to yourself?
well, time to myself is usually, well, for one, I try to just relax, lay down with our dogs, just kind of unwind. I really enjoy drawing, illustrating, everything like that. So every so often, if I have a couple minutes to myself, I'll just start sketching. Uh, I know one big thing I always like to do is my mom and I will just randomly go on, night drives and just talk.
Mm-hmm.
So those are always fun too. But I don't do a whole lot. I'm more just kind of like to stay at home and relax.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Now, your mom seems to be incredibly supportive,
Oh God.
and I love that. So,
Yeah.
what was she supportive in this from the get-go?
Oh my gosh, yeah. She thought it was absolutely insane that I wanted to do all this, of course, but she has been there for me through everything. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
She's been one of the biggest supports in my life.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I get it. I get it.
Yeah. She's just always been there for me. Everything that I ever wanted to do, she always just wanted to be there to support me.
Mm-hmm.
She's been there. with me through any mistakes I made, through any of my successes, everything. She plays a huge role in my life.
Yeah.
You know, she's always there for me. Sorry.
No, no, you're fine. This is why I love live, right? Because it just
Yeah.
it makes it real. Um, no, I get it, and just I talked to her this morning, and I mean, that hit me right away. I'm like, wow, this is what support is all about. I'm lucky too, I have a mom like that also. So it's huge. So I can definitely understand where you're coming from.
Right.
So now does she go to all your fights?
She's been to every single one.
Yeah.
She's always there.
Yeah.
She's always like off to the side, probably shaking in a corner, but
Right. Well, I'll
but
tell you what, she definitely knows her stuff. She knows what she's talking about.
yeah.
So that's great to hear. No, I'm glad to hear that, and it's it's good to have that because not a lot of people do.
Right, especially with parents. Like, I've known plenty of kids from taekwondo, wrestling, everything, who, whenever it came down to like their competitions or even just going to practice, the parents would usually just drop them off and be on their way.
Yep.
Weren't really there for them. So to have that kind of support from my parents it's amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like another question I really haven't asked anybody in a while, but who are some of the people that you fight for?
Well, of course, definitely my parents, my little brother. Well, I can't say little anymore. But my younger
Big little
brother.
brother.
Yeah. That kid he is definitely one of the ones I'm fighting for just because we've done everything together,
Hmm.
all the sports we've been in. It's actually been just recently, when we haven't been able to train together, when we haven't been able to really be around each other. I don't get to see him as often as I used to, and it's a weird feeling because we all live in the same house, and I almost never get to see him. But he's going to be going off to the Marines pretty soon, so
Oh, wow.
yeah. So it kind of sucks not getting to see him too much, but you know, I think most of all I'm fighting for me because my whole life I've just, again, this is my life. I've
Hmm.
just been, you know, between school and everything like that. No, I wasn't ever the kid anybody would ever really talk to per se. I was just kind of there. But in this, I'm at home. I'm happy. I
Yeah.
feel calm. That's why, like, when I step in the cage, I'm overwhelmed. I'm just so happy to be there, to just be in front of that person, whoever I'm in front of. Like, again, it's a weird feeling to describe,
Yeah.
but it's a comforting one.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. I think a lot of people will understand that. You have to if I think your goal should be to have that kind of feeling about what you do. You
Yeah.
don't have to hate what you do.
Right.
You know what I mean? But and that's why I love talking to fighters because a lot of what you do to get where you are, everybody can apply that to everything.
Right.
It just takes you gotta have you have to take those steps. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, so what kind of sacrifices have you had to make? I know there's a lot, and and it seems like they just come one after another when you pursue
Yeah.
this.
Well, definitely as far as like social life goes, I don't have much of one,
Hmm.
but I don't. Whenever certain plans do come up, most of the time I end up having to say no. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be at the gym late tonight, or if I'm ever invited out. whether it be family party, anything like that. I stay away from the sweets table.
Yeah.
um, but you know, they're they're it's more so along the lines of just not being able to really go out with my friends as much as I used to. But
Mhm.
you know, they understand. I'm very lucky that they do understand. Because I've had plenty of people in my life who didn't really get it and were just like, "Oh, you just don't want to be around me." I
Right.
understand, but the friend group that I do have, they all understand that this is a passion of mine. They support me through everything, even like new friends that I've recently made. Um, right off the bat, they hear what I'm doing, they're like, "Oh my God, it's crazy," but like, yeah, if you can't come out, you can't come out. There's nothing wrong with that. We'll plan some time after the fight or anything
Right.
like that. So I'm just very lucky again
Mhm.
to have the kind of support that I have behind me between friends, family, everybody. They just are all willing to, accept that these are sacrifices that I have to make.
Right.
Just again very lucky that they understand why. So
Yeah. And that's huge. But I think
right,
that it took me a long time to learn this, but how you are as a human, those are the kinds of people you attract.
right,
I think for to an extent. I mean, obviously
yeah.
you're going to deal with just grade A buttholes all the time,
Oh,
but weeding them out. I think as you mature, you learn that it's very easy to do
right.
because you don't need
It
that.
is getting
Yeah,
here.
you don't need it. You have so many other things going on that's like I don't need this, you know.
Exactly.
And
No need the negativity.
yeah, and that's so hard for a lot of people to get, but I'm telling you, it's one of those things that when you learn it and start doing it, it becomes easier. And it
Right.
sucks because I can definitely tell just I mean, one, your passion is off the charts and I love it because that's I think that's one of the things that separates greats from good. You
Right.
got to have a passion. And
Exactly.
I can tell you're one of those people, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but who want to find the best out of everything and everyone,
Of course. You never
but
want to. Yeah.
unfortunately, I'm the kind of person that's going to come through and say you can't. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but it is what it is. You try
Right.
and you try. So will you be trying to get another fight in before the end of the year?
I definitely want to be able to.
Yeah.
We'll start looking around, seeing if we can find anybody else. Um, again, I love fighting,
Yeah.
so try and find something. Give myself a couple of days to just,
Yeah.
kind of binge eat, but
Yeah.
we'll find, we'll find something soon, I hope.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy that October's almost over already.
I know.
But the cool thing is with this sport, towards the end of every year, every promotion is just throwing fight cards out left and right. So,
Exactly.
hopefully you can get on something. Now,
I
do you
hope.
have a goal number of fights per year, or do you just kind of go with the flow, or is there a number like you want to hit 4 fights a year or something like that?
I, for the most part, go with the flow because I feel like, I don't know, just trying to plan out, oh, I want this many fights in a year. If I don't get that many fights in a year, I'll just be kind of disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
So, anytime my coaches tell me about a promotion, I'm just like, oh, you should see if there's anybody that might be able to, fight. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I just, again, I love to do it, but I don't want to disappoint myself by like setting these goals and then if I don't reach them, because I'm one of those people, I try to set a goal and if I don't reach it, then I'm just disappointed in myself.
Yeah.
So I just train with the time that I have, and we happen to have a fight along the way, then perfect.
Yeah. I think that's a great attitude to have. I know that's kind of like a mixed bag reaction. You know, a lot of fighters they want to hit that every 3 months. You know, which I
Right.
understand because I think that that timetable really keeps you busy. You know,
Yeah.
because you have a fight, and then like you say, you take a few days or a week or something, and then you get right back into it, and you have another fight.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, I definitely can understand both ways, but I think your approach is the best because then it takes at least that disappointment out of it, you know, because it's like, oh,
Right.
I didn't hit my numbers or whatever, you know, you set for yourself, and you know, you
Right.
need to keep that kind of stuff out of it. You know, you need to be able to focus on doing what you do, I think.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so I don't want to keep you much longer. Um, you know, I really appreciate you coming on here. Is
I
there, you know, I want to ask if you had somebody come up to you, maybe younger, and they were looking for advice on pursuing MMA, what advice would you give?
I think one of the biggest things would probably, if this is something you truly want to do, take care of yourself. Start off at an early age, just like recovering correctly,
Mm-hmm.
because I know that's definitely something that I, you know, wasn't really doing when I was starting off, not recovering properly, and you know, got some bumps and bruises that are just gonna be around for a while. Um, Make sure it's something that you are actually passionate about, though, because I know there are plenty of people who, see fighting and they're just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. But as far as like people who are truly passionate about it, you should never go into something that you're not truly passionate for. Make sure this is something you want to do, because it's amazing. It's an amazing sport. But if you don't have that kind of drive to, take it to the next level, wherever you want to go in it, then don't feel like you need to be pressured into doing something that you don't truly want to do. Because I see it too much. It's like a lot of people, when you see them fight, you don't see that same kind of heart. Um, and then at a certain point, it's like everybody almost gets in their head like, oh well, now you have to do this. Now you have to stick with it. And I would just hate for anybody to feel like pressured into doing something that they don't truly want to do. So again, if they're passionate for it, go for it. Because again, the sky's the limit, especially with, and I would like to single out the girls, especially,
Yes.
like everything, you know, at this point, girls are growing, like especially here in Illinois, like with wrestling. Girls in wrestling here in Illinois is starting to finally like skyrocket. Like these girls are going somewhere. Um, like if you really want to do this, go for it. Because again, the sky's the limit.
Mm-hmm.
No, if it's something that you want for yourself, do it.
Yep.
You have to want it though.
Yeah. Perfect. You know, I tell people a couple things, and what's funny is I got a lot of negative reactions for this, but I don't care. You know, it's just who cares. Um,
Right.
but I posted that not only, you know, women's MMA and combat sports in general, and then I said one fighting championship in Invicta. That's the future, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
It's the future. I think that um, you know, and like I said, there are people. Some of the comments are just so stupid, but I don't care because it is the
It's
future. You know.
right. Well, it is. There's so many girls getting signed on to Evictus. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna end up becoming the next big thing. I
Yeah.
definitely see that too. And there's nothing wrong with saying that because
No.
everybody should have the right to their own opinion.
Yep.
But it is. It really is.
Yep.
Like, especially for a lot of women
Mm-hmm.
recently, like it's it really is going to become the next big thing.
Yeah.
It's a great place. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's huge. I
I
mean,
agree with you 100%.
yeah, I mean, look at where they are today. You know, it's
You're
crazy. And um, one fighting championship, I think that is the finest MMA on the planet right now.
right.
They put on just a ridiculously amazing show and have some
Right.
great talent. But you're part of this wave right now that's um, knocking down, that is going through the door that was knocked down from,
Yeah.
Julie Kedzie and Gina Carano and Ronda Rousey and Caitlin Young, all those fighters. And you're in the wave that took that, and you're now taking it farther than anybody ever expected. So it's
Okay.
huge. It's huge. But yeah, thank you so much for your time. I mean, you have a really bright future, and would love to talk again.
Thank you so much. It was honestly it's an honor
Yeah,
to be.
no, I mean it's a pleasure. It really is, and would love to talk anytime. And we'll keep an eye out for an upcoming fight. And good luck with everything. You're doing great. You're doing great, and
Thank
you're
you so
going to
much.
go very, very far. So,
Thank you.
all right.
All right.
Well, thank you so much, and have a good day.
Thanks, you too.
All right, see ya.
Goodbye.
All right, that was Savanna Tarver. She's one of the most impressive prospects right now in MMA, so keep her on your radar. Tomorrow we have Shamir Peshewa from KMAA. She is co-main eventing the Valor fights on the 2nd, next Friday, so it'll be a lot of fun to talk with her. So tune in for that, and we'll have a couple audio podcasts next week as well. So that's it for today, and hope everybody has a good day.